Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Before I get going with this video, I just want to take a moment to thank our friend Angela very much for your donation to our channel's PayPal account. As I've mentioned before, many of my videos have been demonetized, and even through, human review, they remain demonetized. I'm not really sure what it is I'm saying that's causing this, but anyways, your donations are greatly appreciated. Several months ago, I did become a bit concerned that I was talking too much and not listening enough. So I had prayed that God would guide me. I had prayed that God would make His will for me, for you, for this channel known to me. And the message I got at that point was that I needed to zip it, stop talking, and start listening. And that's what I've been doing for the last few months. It's not been a break from the channel for me because, of course, I've really had to revisit some opinions that I've made public about narcissistic abuse and healing from it. And it also led me on a very bizarre path of research that, led me fairly deep down a very strange rabbit hole. And I want to talk about some of those things today. Now, the first one is the statement that I've made over and over again. Making victims of narcissistic abuse exempt from any responsibility. Now, I have not changed my original opinion on this. I do not believe that we are responsible for any of it, inasmuch as victims of narcissistic abuse are truly targeted by these evil entities. They are manipulated into believing that they have met their soulmates or their closest friend, their BFF, and I do believe that targets, victims of narcissistic abuse, enter into these relationships very innocently. I believe that we do not have ulterior motives going in. There's no covert agenda, but a willingness to share our lives with someone that we believe cares about us as we care for them. So, as far as that goes, I'm going to stand firm on my original statements, and I've made it many times, that I do not believe that victims of narcissistic abuse are in any way responsible for the initial entanglement with the narcissist. Now, I've had a bit of a revelation about that, and really it's about me seeing that in my experience with the narcissist, there were very key moments, very clearly defined moments in the relationship where I submitted to the abuse. I absolutely accepted it. The offer of abuse was made to me, and I said, yes, bring it on in. Now, my understanding of demons and, demonic type behaviors is that the demon really cannot attack a person if the target does not give them permission. It's just like that understanding that demons have to pre-notify you that they're going to do something horrible. So just to kind of try and pull this tangled string straight, what started to become very apparent to me was that there was a defining moment when the abuser, Trevor, went from idealizing me to devaluing me. Like, there was a very specific day, and I remember that day very well. I had gone to work as usual. Trevor and I worked together. I didn't see him around the office. We had only been on 4 or 5 dates. Now, as you know, I mentioned by date 2, he was introducing me to his parents. So, even very early on like that, the relationship was seeming, really serious to me, like really important, like possibly I had met my soulmate. Now, okay, on this particular day, I'm at work, I'm doing my thing, I'm not seeing him, I'm thinking, oh, maybe he's out in an early call. And my boss calls me upstairs to the office, and he says to me, Kim, you gotta leave here immediately. You've got to get over to Trevor's. He is having a complete, epic, nuclear mental meltdown. So I'm informed that he is very likely drunk, but he's calling work every 5 minutes. He's harassing everyone. He's threatening to come down to work, and my boss doesn't want that, and asked me if I would please go up there and try and keep, the bulk of the storm out of our place of business. Now, I had seen Trevor the day before, of course, at work. He had drove me home, and then he went off. Now, somewhere between dropping me off and the next day when I arrived at his house, something had happened. He had completely transformed. Now, he had been obviously on his absolute best behavior, presenting as my soulmate, mirroring me, idealizing me, talking relentlessly about, what a different man he would be had he met me sooner, how, I was some sort of savior in his life. And, these comments were making me feel a tremendous amount of self-worth, of value, like I was important to him. And of course, I was very much attracted to this. And, why wouldn't I be? We want to be important in someone's life. And anyways, I had been single for a great number of years, and the concept that I had met someone that truly loved me was very, very attractive to me. But this day, oh my God, he wasn't that guy. He was drunk out of his mind. The house was upside down. There was cigarette butts and beer tins and wine bottles, and the house stunk, and he had very obviously urinated on himself. I mean, he had big pee rings all over his pants, and he was sweating and screaming and crying and flailing and punching walls, and I mean, it was absolute madness. And he was blaming me for all of this because I had gone home. Now, he had offered me a ride home the day before. I had accepted it, but I guess I wasn't supposed to do that. I guess he thought he had groomed me enough for me to say, oh no, darling, I want to be with you, but I wanted to get home, to my kids and, get dinner going. So I did that. Well, oh my God, I mean, the whole thing just, unraveled so quickly. And in that moment, and I'm telling you, that was a defining moment. I didn't recognize it. Did it look weird? Oh man, it looked weird. But what I'm thinking in my confusion is that, wow, this guy's crazy about me. This rage, this screaming, this crying, this breaking things, punching holes in the walls went on for hours. I kept calling down to our boss, and our boss at the time, well, he was my boss, but he was a personal friend of Trevor's. I would call him an acquaintance, someone I worked for, not a personal friend, but he was a personal friend of Trevor's, and I called him many times saying, maybe you want to get your butt up here, and help me because, I got a serious problem here on my hands. And he's becoming very aggressive, and he's calling me names, and he's blaming me, and he's screaming at me. And then, I wasn't getting any help from him, and he's like, Jesus, Kim, look, we're going to pay you for the whole day. Just keep him away from here. So then I finally called his mother because the situation, had become quite out of hand, and, neighbors were gathering on the street looking on, and I didn't want anybody calling the police because we weren't in a confrontation with each other. It was like him going nuts and me running around behind him, picking stuff up, going, whoa, like, calm down, what's happening? And him screaming, you don't really love me, you don't really love me. Now, guys, this is date 5. And of course, I'm replying, of course I really love you. Of course I really love you. Just stay calm. Now, this is going on for hours and hours and hours until finally I call his mother. His mother ultimately arrived. She is a retired nurse. She literally tranquilized him. She crushed up some sleeping pills, she put it in some juice, and she made him drink it, and he passed out, at which time I ran away. She drove me home. We locked up the house, and he was out cold on the sofa. I mean, urine in his pants and all, and I left. I now very much see that as the defining moment where this demon-possessed creature clearly said to me, hey, the idealization's over. I am now going to inflict odious harm on you. Are you in? And I absolutely said I was in. Now, in retrospect, which of course is always 2020, I definitely have to assume responsibility for that. That was a very unpleasant situation, certainly not the sort of thing that a critically thinking, confident, self-assured person would accept as relationship behavior, certainly not on date 5. Whew. I absolutely accepted it. In that moment, that hideous creature told me, hey, look at me. I am absolutely vile. I am capable of disgusting behavior. I am completely willing to devalue you. Now I'm asking you for permission to let me do it. And I absolutely, wholeheartedly believing, well, oh God, he's just drunk, believing that possibly he just loved me so much that this overnight absence was just too much for him. Like, whoa, Kim, get over yourself, right? Like, oh my God. But the brainwashing, the manipulation had already begun. I was already free-falling down this narc rabbit hole of madness. And when the devaluation kicked in, yes, I became a willing participant. And really, there's no way for me to avoid responsibility in that. Yeah. The demon announced itself to me. The demon made its future intentions very clear, and I bought it. I did. I bought it. I neatly packed it up. I internalized it and said, yes, you can abuse me. And it never stopped from that point on. That was the breaking point. Now, many of you have said to me that the idealization went on for a year, many years, and I've always said it was pretty fleeting with me. It really wasn't until recently, when I kind of stopped talking and started listening, not only listening to you guys, I mean, poring over the comments, rereading emails, but really looking back, on my relationship with that horrible thing. I really do recognize that as the breaking point. That's when I submitted to this abuse. And I want to assume responsibility for that because I believe assuming responsibility for that, recognizing that breaking point will help to keep me safe from future abuse. Now, guys, if you remember in your relationship with the narc where that breaking point was, what that one defining moment was, please leave it in the comment section below. And I really want to thank you guys for your continued support. Every time you like a video, subscribe, or share my videos, it helps to get the word out. As you know, I'm on a lifetime ban with Twitter. I'm constantly on a ban at Facebook. Now, a lot of you write to me at Facebook, and sometimes I can write back, but sometimes I'm on a temporary suspension. I do believe I know why, these bans keep coming up. And I do believe there is a ban on speaking out against evil right now, and I'm going to continue doing that. So I may get banned, from speaking out myself. So if you would mind helping to share my videos, not necessarily this one, but if you have a favorite one, maybe you could help me that way. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, guys, I love you lots, and I got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to end this video, skip on to the next video. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you're having a great narc-free day. Mwah. Love you lots.